dancing around. He's in trouble. Gets out of the scrum, looking downfield, and he's got a man. Gets to the 10, to the 5, he's in. Touchdown, Marcis, yes. Is intercepted. It's fumbled, and Neely is going to walk into the end zone.
It's the Coach's Corner with legendary head football coach from Mater Dei High School, Bruce Rollinson. Let's join our host, Kevin Turner, and Coach Rollinson for in-depth discussion, commentary, and all things Mater Dei football.
And hi again, everyone. Kevin Turner, along with the head coach for Mater Dei football, Bruce Rollinson. Happy to have you along on our third installment of the Coach's Corner podcast. And, Coach, we are 71 days out from kicking this thing off. And I was looking at the calendar. This time a year ago, we were heading into Week 10 of regular season play against J. Sarah, getting ready for the playoffs. So if you turn the clock back 71 days out a year ago, would have put us at June 14th. Is that about right?
Yeah. We would be going to summer. You're exactly right. Exactly right. And, you know, Kev, right now, we're moving forward, and let's face it, what else can happen? You know, we had a great plan. We had an unbelievably great week of practice last week in conditioning, in strength. We're getting really strong. We're looking good. They're cardiovascular. I mean, they're just coming right back. The base is being laid. And, you know, we had planned a good Tuesday practice. Monday would have been lifting conditioning. Tuesday, lifting conditioning with a practice. We bumped it to 3 days a week of on the field for a couple of hours. And we lost Tuesday. And who would have thought that, you know, Monday morning we wake up and the wind's blowing 600 miles an hour, which I kind of had read that we were going to catch it. But, you know, in my little home in Tustin Ranch, I looked up and I said, that's a lot of smoke. I go, that fire's close. And, you know, you turn the TV on and you find out that, you know, half of Irvine is lit up. And I knew immediately there goes practice. And I know my concern was for the people, their homes, the safety, and God bless the firefighters. And there's 2 that are critically injured, and our prayers go out to them and their family. But then the other side of me is going, we're going to now, because they had Saturday, Sunday, okay. I knew we were going to lose Monday. I still had hopes for Tuesday. Tuesday got shut down because of continued fire, but more the air quality here. And now it's Wednesday, and we don't practice on Wednesday. It's a flex day. So here we are on Thursday, and everything's good to go. So, but let me revert back to last week. On Friday, I turned it loose a little bit, and it was exciting. They were chomping at the bit. And, you know, we had cleared it with the athletic director, the vice principal, the nurse. We read the rules again. And so we gassed it up a little bit and did a little bit of team at the end. And it was unbelievable.
Some hooting and hollering out there.
I'll tell you what, there was a lot of pent up emotion. Nice. It was very physical. But what I liked is, you know, nobody got taken to the ground. But they were into it, and it's the fastest 8-play period that I've gone through, and you know, I stepped back away from it in honesty and said, you know, our defense is fast, they're ferocious, our offense, they're always going to be ahead of us. Our offense had its moments, and I won't lie to you, Relique Brown put on a show. Just, you know, you knew. You know, all the press.
Just for the reminder,
Relique Brown is a junior running back that came down from Stockton, will be a junior, right now ranked in his class as the number 1 running back in the nation. And he looked like the number 1 running back in the nation. You know, there was a blocking assignment missed as he was entering the hole. And I said, oh, it's going to get shut down. And he put his left foot in the ground and exploded to the outside, made a kid miss. That kid was grabbing air, and then just finds that he's got a fifth gear.
What would he remind you of, either at the college level or the pro level?
That's a great question, and I've been asked that, and I haven't seen it enough yet for a reminder. But nothing comes to mind. He's his own self for right now. But as we go into it, let's revisit that question down the road, because it's a combination of power. It's a combination of vision. He smells it. He sees it. I mean, he had a tenth of a second to realize that it was shutting down. But we've watched it on video, and when he put his left foot in the ground, he was getting up to speed, and then just made this cut without taking a gear out of it, and then just started hitting gears right up the sidelines.
Yeah, that's magical when a guy can make a move like that without scrubbing any speed.
Exactly.
And then pop out
exactly.
of it. It's a rare...
Well, you had to go watch it on video. That's when you know it's pretty good.
Let's look at it again.
Because you got to look at it again and say, how did he pull that off? And that's his ability. And it was fun, and now we're gonna have a little, get them a little taste, be safe, be smart, be within the rules of COVID, but they're excited about that. But now your question is interesting because we are in summer training. We have started to install the special teams, and that's an opportunity for a lot of the young men to make their presence felt. And, it's highly organized by my special teams coordinator, Brian Duran. And it's funny because your specialists, your long snappers, your punters, and your kickers, they spend a lot of time at their craft, but they spend a lot of time on the other field with no pressure.
You don't know who they are either. Like, who's this guy?
You're digging into everything.
I need a spotting chart here.
I goes, put that long-haired snapper back in. I really did. I couldn't remember his name. But what's interesting is now they're up on the big field. And Rollinson, Johnson, all the big-time coaches are now watching. They struggled a little bit, and it's to be expected. And we had a little meeting of the minds afterwards and said, all right, this is your 20 minutes of glory, all your work, but if you can't do it here, what are you going to do when the crowd's in the stands? Friday night, the lights go on. I got to count on you. I know they're going to improve. There's a lot of talent there. The Chase Meyer kid that's coming up, he's going to be a junior. He got off a couple of real good punts. So, and it was good to see them in coverage, good to see them working their technique. So it was a good day, and I'm excited for this afternoon. I know they are, because they know now we're going to taste some football.
It's going to be fun. Hey, just a reminder, none of this is possible without our outstanding sponsors. Want to remind you that our title sponsor, Chris Poliska, stepped up, hole number 88, Total Quality Lending. If you're looking to refi, buy a new home, historic low interest rate. So if you're ever going to do it, pull the trigger now. As we said before, failing to plan is planning to fail. And get in the game with Chris Poliska at Total Quality Lending, 714-345-1671. And we've got the Miliari Group coming in as well. That's another one of your three stripers. Carlo Valdez, financial planning, debt consolidation, wealth management. He can set up 529 plans, insurance. These guys are the real deal. Carlo Valdez, I talked to him today. He's actually training to become a two-time Olympian in Lake Placid. He's on the two-man and the four-man bobsled team. Went to the Olympics 4 years ago. He's back in the running to repeat as a two-time Olympian, but he's working full-time. So he is available. His number is 949-922-1088. That's the Miliari Group Financial Planning. And we've got another new sponsor coming in thanks to the Healy family. This is Blue Russe. This is premium distilled vodka imported from France. This is available. It's on sale now at Bevmo. And, of course, the big hit around the Turner household. And I know that you guys open it up for a family celebration.
Yes.
It's our good friends at Hooker by Crook. This is a premium Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa Valley. It goes on sale November 2nd at Costco, $10.99. It is an incredible value. So I want to thank our two new sponsors, the Miliari Group and also Blue Russe imported vodka from France. Great product, easy to celebrate during the holidays. So we encourage you to go to Bevmo or go to Costco for the Hooker by Crook. And of course, Chris Poliska at Total Quality Lending at 714-345-1671. Coach, so let's talk about, Pac-12 play is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Your kids, we just talked about it. They're excited. They got to be watching some of their former teammates getting ready to play. Of course, we've seen what's happened here locally with the Dodgers and the Lakers. Does that provide a little bit of extra oomph and a little skip in their step when they see their hometown teams winning the championship?
You know what, Kevin? The first thing I told them when the Lakers won the championship, I said, okay, you're all over social media, okay? It says world champions for 2020. There's no asterisk, COVID, played in the bubble. There's none of that. They are the world champions, okay? Now the Dodgers, and I'm going to remind them today, they are the world champions of baseball, okay? It doesn't have an asterisk. I go, you can become the CIF champion of 2020. It doesn't matter that it's being played in 2021. There will be no asterisks. The ring will fit just as well. I'll get you a big fat one. Okay. So let's continue to work because the title is there for us. And I think that's a motivating factor. And I congratulate the Dodgers and the Lakers. But yeah, it's, you know me, I'm going to take all this stuff and twist it into the modern day Kool-Aid and motivate my players. But that was the first thought I had when I watched, them celebrate. We're going to have an opportunity to celebrate in April. Okay. It doesn't matter that it's April.
Right.
It doesn't matter what month it is. Okay. We're going to try to get together. We got a long road ahead, but the ring is the ring. The championship's the championship. Right. So let's go win that thing.
And the Rams are playing well right now.
Exactly.
So, there's a lot of, positivity going on locally with our professional teams.
Well, and to me, you saw Bryce Young come in at the end of the Alabama game and just sling it, and JT is waiting in the wings. My communication with JT feels like he's ready to go. They're seeing something physically that they're still on a hold. I think it'll get interesting. They had a bye. Okay, will they get him reps in their upcoming game this weekend? I don't know.
But don't you think it stands to reason? You put an investment in a young man that's obviously got great credentials. Why rush him in? Why not give him the gift of time? You got this. The walk-on that's come in, he's kept the race car between the lines.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had the setback last week, but in my opinion, I think coming off an injury like that, why not give him the gift of time?
Well, like I say, I first of all, you got a 19 or a 20-year-old mind that thinks he's invincible,
right.
But the medical experts see something. I'm rooting for him, but I'm also confident that they're going to make the right decision when they turn him loose. And when they turn him loose, they feel confident that he's 100%. And I think it's the right decision. I get calls from Georgia all the time, from newspapers to magazines to their, what's my opinion? My opinion doesn't matter. Okay. Sure. I quoted in an article, turn him loose, but I really believe that they're doing the right thing. I mean, you and I know, and because we're always talking, it was a significant injury that he suffered. And the time frame is right about now that it should be completely healed. So let's see what the future holds for JT. I'm excited to get the Pac-12 going because we got a lot of guys that, are going to tee it up. From Amon-Ra and Bruce having a great camp. The guy I feel bad for is Solomon Tuliapasupo. He can't buy a break.
Yeah.
The foot was healed. The word I was getting was he was a monster, and then he gets another setback with a knee injury. And football is a cruel game, and I know his time will come, but you can only say a prayer and hopefully he deals with that adversity.
I loved his quote. I mean, comes out and says, "Hey, God's good. I will survive. I will be back." Yeah. And very, forward thinking, very positive outlook on his future.
Exactly.
So it's good to see that.
Yeah, and that's the kind of kid he is. But inside, you keep getting smacked back, and you start to question its human nature, and you've got to fight through that. You and I know that it's not life-threatening. It's just part of the crazy game of football, and we talk about adversity all the time, and I talk to the kids about adversity. We're in an adverse situation, and we got to make the best of it. What's our preseason schedule going to look like? It did not help that Riverside County went purple because that shut down everybody. So now I'm going, okay, what's going to happen with Corona Centennial? The viewing audience, November 10th is a big date for Riverside County. That's when they'll announce the next color that they're in. And if they go a double purple, I think football's in jeopardy out in Riverside County. We already know LA County, I don't think they're ever going to come out of purple. So now you start to look at some of my other preseason games. And that's why I referred to, at a certain point, I think the CIF, the league presidents through the CIF, they're going to have to say, okay, who's in, who's out, now reshuffle the preseason schedules.
Have you talked to Jason about what he's dealing with there in Bellflower?
Yeah, his concern is that...
We're talking about Jason Negro, the head coach at St. John Bosco.
His concern is, will he have any home games? Because will they let you go into LA County and play a game? Fortunately, he's coming to the bowl in probably one of the biggest games in the bowl in recent years. I mean, it's on par with the IMG and the Bishop Gorman games. And I know Fox has a limited package, but I'm pretty sure, the Fox people will be here. And no, I'm not going to bring my Emmy Award to the game. I've taken enough crap about that poor Emmy Award.
Fox isn't going to be there. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth will.
So, but now we go back to what we've talked about in both broadcasts, this uncertainty. And my players are going, and I go, guys, I don't know. I trust in the Lord. I trust that it's going to work out. I mean, if I had a buck for every phone call from the parents, will we be allowed in the stands? I don't know the answer to that. Orange County's close to going into the next safest category. If you get into that category, I don't know the color. We're in orange, so I think it's yellow, but I'm not sure. Then they're starting to have discussions of what will crowds look like, close relatives, friends, prominent alumni and donors like these guys we've got to take care of. But I don't know now. I don't know. It's like I tell the kids, focus on the fact that you're going to play. That's where watching the NFL and the college football games, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I don't see any diminish in play. I don't see any lack of energy. I think it's us as a viewing audience that miss that rah, Here comes,
right.
And there's been some close games in college football, and I feel bad for the athletes. You score the winning touchdown or kick the winning field goal, and they probably would have torn the goalpost down, but the cardboard people didn't move. So,
football is one of those incredibly well-produced and well-designed sports that translates better than any sport, in my opinion, on TV. It is a made-for-TV event.
I agree.
And so, therefore, the viewers at home, I don't think there's any compromise for us, the viewers at home watching a game. The directors lose the cutaway shot of the band and the cheerleaders, but there's still limited. In some of the SEC games, you do have some crowd, some band participation, cheerleading. So you get a little bit of that, but it's not like a sold out field.
But on the field of play, I haven't seen anything diminish, and that's what.
And
counts.
I'm surprised that you wouldn't see. I think the tackling is as good as it's ever been, and I don't know how to account for that, because you do need that body contact to flush. It's that survival mode and the adrenaline rush and getting that lactic acid moving and dispersed. But these guys, for whatever reason, they are doing a great job and performing really well in the field.
Well, there's so much natural talent out there,
Forget about that. It's not like they're dealing with a ninth grader that's never played.
If you go back to the first SEC games, you saw that the offenses weren't quite firing on all cylinders. There were timing issues. There were timing issues from throw to catch. There were timing issues in the run game. And I thought early on that there was a tackling issue. And now you watch them improve with the amount of practice that they are getting. And now it's cleaner, it's well executed. I block that out of my mind, because I think if we can go on the 14th of December, we're not going to just turn it into a full scrimmage every day, but that will give us ample time to prepare, and we should be sharp. And especially now with what we're doing, simulating, going back to your original question, simulating the live action that we do in the summer. We won't have the repetitions unless we change colors of the passing tournaments. If we can get some tournaments, get some opponents' offenses, it will make for a better product for us. But you deal with it.
Let's go back on a sad note. We lost a great one last week. Your former teammate, my former broadcast partner for 14 years, Bill Kunity, who was just an absolute gem to our community, tremendous influence throughout Southern California. You look around at some of the great quarterbacks that you've had. He's had a hand in their development. Started the West Coast Passing Academy, part of Athletes Performance. His last two pros that he tutored, Jimmy Garoppolo and Patrick Mahomes. Sort of a renaissance man. He was the president of the Southern California Golf Association, the only coach to win a women's, men's state championship in 3 different sports. Just a tremendous human being. Thoughts on your reflection on the influence Bill Cunerty had in our football community?
I saw it come up, and you immediately say a prayer for the family, and then you get another little piece of your heart ripped out. I go all the way back to 1979. I got a phone call in the old office. I was an assistant coach with Wayne Cochran. And, you knew who it was immediately, because the energy came flying out of the phone. And it was Bill Cunerty. And he asked me if I would coach the South team as an assistant coach, taking running backs. He brought Wayne over, the head coach, to coach on the defensive side of the ball. So he had this blended staff, and we had a really, really good football team. A lot of great players, in the South. And this was when the county game was the county game. It was the showcase game. You know, they weren't leaving early for college, and you had every top player in Orange County, and you were restricted with your numbers. But anyway, you know, I coached the first 3 practices the way I coach, and you know, I'm an intense person, and I'm young, and I'm just flying around going 200 miles an hour and jumping on guys for not taking the right steps, and I'll never forget, you know, at the post-practice with Billy and I and the staff, Dave Ellisori, another great coach, Eric Patton.
Yeah.
Okay, my teammate goes on to a great career at Notre Dame. But Billy pulled me aside and he said, look, he goes, I love the way you coach. I love your energy. He goes, but also, he goes, you got to remember, this is a fun game. He goes, are you having any fun? and I reflected on that so many times that he's right. You know, we're fortunate in what we do, but we also have to keep it in perspective. And there was nobody better at keeping it in perspective. He wanted to win badly, and we prepared to win the South game, and we did win the county game. But also, I saw another side of how to coach, and I've often thought about it that, you know, there has to be fun, and he had crazy things that he did. You know, they could wear hats during the warm up. Stupid and crazy hats, and that was totally out of my wheelhouse. Yeah. You know me, get your helmet on, snap it up, and you don't talk during stretch, and you're focused. But I saw this, and I saw it work, you know, and I saw kids come together, and it wasn't him giving pep talks. It was the personality that he brought to the staff and also to the kids. And so many great visits with you and Billy when you guys were doing the Cox games. And then, everybody said we were the flagship of Cox and Fox because you guys picked us up a lot. But always Billy and I would always reflect back. We played the county game at the Bowl, and there were some funny stories.
I remember him telling me about this guy, Darius Durham, who I remember played at Bolsa Grande. Yeah. And he comes over to Coach Q and says, hey, Coach, you know what they call me, don't they? I was like, no, what are they? He goes, well, I'm like Denny's. He's like, Denny's? He goes, yeah, I'm open 24/7, so throw me the ball.
I know. And then and the same thing, we had Johnny Bryant. Some of the county people might remember what an incredible athlete. And I'm sitting there saying, we got to get this kid the ball. We got to get this kid the ball. Every time he touched it, good things happen. So we're in the game, and I will never forget, Johnny was coming up the sidelines, and it occurred right in front of us. And somehow the quarterback misfired, and Johnny's gearing back because it's underthrown, and they go up, and this is a true story. Johnny Bryant caught it off the back of his helmet, pinned it to the back of his helmet, turned, stayed in bounds, and I go, wow, that's an athlete.
We saw that in the Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's funny because Kunity comes down, we're on the headphones, and he looks at me and he goes, I coached him to do that. He goes, that was a totally planned play.
He was reflecting the Man of Character award, and he was telling a story about, when he wanted to play in the worst way for Rod Dano. He was a two-sport athlete at USC.
Yes, baseball.
And he goes, Coach, I really want to play for you when he was getting recruited. And I said, I want to play for you in the worst way. And he goes, well, you are the worst. A lot of little cute, fun stories. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, and what I recall about Southern California JUCO football, and this is going back 30, 40 years ago, in my mind, the Southern California JUCO football, for many that don't know, was junior colleges don't exist around the United States. It's highly concentrated here in Southern California. And so the junior college with Cunerty and Featherstone up at El Camino, this is the first time I ever saw a 4-wide, no huddle offense with a lot of motion, a lot of eye candy. Would you agree that was sort of the R&D lab for the modern passing game here in Southern California?
Definitely. When I went to Santa College for those 4 or 5 years, when I still taught here, but went up the street with Dave Ogus and that staff, I had the pleasure of John Featherstone was the offensive coordinator. He hadn't moved up to El Camino yet. But what I learned was utilizing the back as check down and a major ingredient in the pass game. And another growth period for me. And when I first saw, because again, I came out of the USC I formation, tight end, double tight ends, slam it down your throat, play action, and I see this shotgun. And I'm going, look at this. And I had, we played against, he's still out at Riverside College, Tom Kraft. Tom Kraft was another innovator and an incredible offensive mind. And then I used to watch our defense, Benny Rapp and Tom Nelson, 2 great football coaches, have to try to defend this thing. And they're almost making it up on the fly because, it is so innovative and so new. And you had these premier athletes, and that's what junior college gets you, the opportunity to continue this great game of football, get your academics straightened around, and then you get bounce backs that fill in, and it was a whole different level. What you had to get used to in junior college was maybe 50, 60 people in the stands.
Right.
And I was spoiled by modern day where it's just lit up on the whole side of the home stadium. But I look back on those years, and those were formative years in my coaching, especially with my mentor, Dave Ogus. But yeah, I would sit there and look at the board and go, how are they going to defend that? Do we have time, crossing routes? And Featherstone, I mean, he was going 600 miles an hour and the line coach is going, you got to try to get everybody on the same page.
So looking back, Dave Money was also with you at Santa Ana College.
Yes.
So it's kind of proof positive that the modern era of modern day really was the direct beneficiary of this Southern California junior college influence.
Yeah, because Dave was a product. And when I got hired at Modern Day in '89, I mean, I was teaching here. When I became the head football coach, they brought me in. I told the story.
Yeah.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you're the head coach. But I had one request. I said, I want to bring a young assistant who was working for Bob Lester up at El Medina at the time. I said, I want to bring a former quarterback because I don't want to run the offense. Not that I just felt as the head coach, I was going to have all kinds of other things that I had to deal with, and I knew Dave could take it over. And if you watch real quickly, Danny O'Neill's his quarterback. That's not a bad quarterback. And we started doing a combination of, play action, run game, but then we started spreading.
Sparks, running back during that era? Or
in 1990, yeah. And if you look, one of our successes came in our first championship with Billy Blanton was because we were spreading it out. And then I had the other guy on the other side, Eric Johnson, and he's studying the NFL stuff, and everybody's saying, well, you can't do that. And I've always believed if you teach it right, high school kids can do whatever you ask them. Right. And we started zone blitzing people right and left, and they didn't know where you were vulnerable, and they didn't know how to pass block it. And my good friend John Barnes and I had some battles because he was spreading it.
Right.
And that was our answer to the LoSal powerhouses. And we were playing man, which you're not supposed to do in high school, but we were hanging on and praying, because there were times when LoSal would block it up and we'd go, oh,
and you put Stephen Bodner in there and have him put his hand down in a 3-point stance and get after Kevin Federer.
Exactly.
Those are some great battles.
Starting tailback.
Yeah.
But you put the athletes in there and you don't overcoach them, And again, flashback to Cunerty.
Yeah.
Okay. That's one of the things he told me. He goes, you're trying to change that kid's steps. He's pretty good. Maybe his steps work. And I learned that with Derek Sparks. I said, okay. And Mike McNair was the best example I can give you. When Mikey was here, I finally was trying to teach Mike to lower his hips and then. And finally one day I said, you know what, Mike, just take that rock, and there's a last line down there. It's called the goal line. Get to the goal line. I don't care how you get there.
Get to the edge.
Yeah.
Faster than any kid. I mean, what was he, a 10-500 meter guy?
10-6, 200 meters, 6'2", 220 pounds. That was a load coming out.
Had a nice career at Notre Dame.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. His dad, Kevin, was a big part of your program.
Huge part of my program.
Another transformational change
that
you brought to modern day was that speed element.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good stuff. Thanks for sharing that about Coach Kunity. God bless the Kunity family. Claudia, our thoughts and prayers are with you and all of the community that's mourned his loss. But the big man upstairs has gained a great offensive coordinator and good short game expert too as well.
I know.
Heck of a golfer.
Yep.
I'm going to miss those days on the links with Coach Cunerty. Let's talk just real quick about some of the things that are going on in the Big 12. They just got started last week, but now I'm reading that Wisconsin, their game's going to be canceled. And that led me to think about, they have the resources and the protocol and prevention. So what are some of the contingency plans moving forward at the high school level if some of this stuff happens? Do you shut it down? Do you quarantine? What's the plan moving forward? And what are the contingency plans?
Well, I think I might have said this earlier when the Washington Football Club or whatever their name is, their head coach, it wasn't COVID, but he got diagnosed with cancer. And one of the things that I was listening to, and it was on College Sports Radio, and the guy said contingency plans. This gentleman was saying you have to have a backup, because take his diagnosis out of it, but somebody has to take his place. And so we're sitting here, and I'm sitting here saying, okay, God forbid, let's start with Bruce Rollinson. Okay, I'm out for 14 days. I mean, I am quarantined for 14 days, and I'm very careful. And my wife is pounding on me. Lori's pounding on me to be smart, wear my mask, but so now John Hopkins would probably have to step in. Somebody's got to run the ship if I'm gone for 14 days. And then I looked at the coordinators, and God forbid, again, if Johnson was to get quarantined, then Frank McManus, my DB coach, who's really probably could go coordinate at any high school right now, and I'm blessed that he keeps coming back, but Frankie would have to take over the defense, and he's equipped for that, and we've had that discussion. And on the offensive side of the ball, if Dave Money got something happened, Taylor Kelly would step in and direct the offense. So we have a contingency plan. In regards to if a kid gets it, in honesty, Kevin, now you got to go, okay, who was he in contact with? And I feel like is there a team left? That's where I wake up at night saying, okay, what will happen? And right now there is no direct guidelines other than direct contact. So, we haven't had any cases in the last 2 months. Modern day high school, since we've opened school, 3 cases. Okay, and so, we're doing the right
And
things.
what's the student body head count here?
2,200.
So you kept 3 out of 2,200.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's kind of, I've had people approach me about, we can test your boys every day. I don't want to open that can of worms up because now you're going to get into the false positives. So, right now the rule of thumb is stay home. And we've had kids miss practice. It's no big deal to me. If it's a year ago, you had the flu, okay, unless you were dying on the couch, you came in bundled up and you had to watch video and stay away from everybody. But it's different now. We got to trust the parents, and they've done an awesome job. 3 out of 22. So,
just a reminder, this podcast brought to you in part by our good friends at Total Quality Lending. That's Chris Poliska, former 3-striper, 714-345-1671. We also want to thank Hooker by Crook, Napa Cab Reserve, on sale November 2nd at Costco, $10.99. Great value. Got our new sponsor here, Blue Roost. This is a premium distilled, bottled in France, great product. And we also want to thank the Miliari Group Financial Planning, Carlo Valdez, 949-922-1088. Coach, let's talk real quick.
Wait, I got to talk about the sponsors.
Go
here.
ahead.
No, you know what? None of this is possible without the generosity of these men stepping up and helping the program. So the way I look at it, okay, you can get ready for the Olympics, sit in your refinanced home, buy the insurance so you know that you're covered, and then you can go to either the vodka or the wine and watch Carlo Valdez compete in the Olympics.
Absolutely.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Carlo Valdez was a 3-striper, great two-way player for Coach Rollinson during the Barkley year. I think he was a year ahead of Barkley. Went to UCLA, played football, then became a decathlete, then became an all Pac-12 javelin thrower, and then said, that's not good enough. I'm gonna try out for the Olympic bobsled team. Makes the Olympics in the 2-man and the 4-man. He's training right now. I just talked to him this morning in Lake Placid. They get up to 96 miles an hour in that 4-man bobsled. And he's the number 3 man. So he's topped through that entire course. So talk about a gnarly, hair-raising experience, but he loves it, and we're proud of Carlo to represent the United States in this next upcoming
What would be interesting if we could maybe we can do this. Let's try to get Carlo either on the phone or in person.
Get him
with
right
us.
here on the speaker. He said he'd be happy to come in. And the stories that he had, it's really an interesting sport, how he got involved in it.
Tell us. I talked to Carlo after he had his first couple of runs and, went to the initial tryouts. And he's a tremendous athlete. He's a tremendous kid, and his power. But when he described the first run, I couldn't believe it. So maybe we can get Carlo on, and then we'll get Poliska in the air.
That's the Miliari Financial Planning Group. They do 529 plans. So if you're getting ready to get your kids, put that money away, tax deferred, into a education plan, they do that. They do insurance, wealth preservation, wealth management. So they've really got a very integrated vertical plan for financial planning. So that's Carlo Valdez, and that they're in partnership together with Chris Poliska. So Chris is more on the mortgage side. Carlo handles the financial planning side, and Aaron Vasquez is also part of that group. So great to see the 3-stripers. Coach, we got a couple more things I want to talk about. What's going on in the college recruiting game? Are you getting calls now? Are they open to come and watch your practices? Is that window open back up? How is that? What's that like in the calendar where we're at right now?
No, you know what, Kevin? I can't get any information. I'm having these practices and there's no college coaches. And this would be a primetime viewing. But I understand that, there's only, 6 states not playing, us being one of them. I'm assuming there's a signing date. I've got a couple of boys that will sign on December 2nd, I think it is. I'm not going to bash the NCAA, but I'm not getting any information as to when the windows open up, when they can come, what the recruiting will be like. Are they moving the calendar for recruiting? I
so
don't know.
It's TBD
that.
right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that affect your athletes? Are they getting anxious about it, or are they able to just stay focused on what's ahead of them this afternoon and put that on the shelf for the time being? How do you counsel them in that?
The ones I feel sorry for, like Buddy Sagayo, defensive lineman. Buddy's a player. He's a player, but that 5'11" kid going about 250, 260, but he's just unblockable. He's a kid that can play in the Mountain West. And he has the grades. I've got to try to get him. Josiah Zamora, our slot, two-year starter.
I love that kid.
Yeah,
I thought he was done. He's got another year left.
Yeah, he's back.
Number 13.
Yeah, right? Wes Welker.
Yeah.
And again, he understands that he's not going to go to SC on a scholarship. But I'm telling you, there's so many colleges that would just go, whoa, look at this guy, and Josiah. He's a 4.3 student.
Yeah.
So now we've got to get the Ivies.
Why wouldn't the service academies be hot on
I approached him about that, and that has to be in your blood.
Yeah.
It has to be something that you've thought about and have some interest to at least get additional information. Josiah said, Coach, no disrespect. I don't see myself in that type of life, in that type of environment. I do, but we've had Jed Smith is sitting at the military academy, Neely's sitting at and playing for or on the team at the Naval Academy right now, but they dreamed about that. So flashing back. And I've got other players in that situation. I've gone to a recruiting service, signing. I just forgot the name of it. I apologize. But I made the investment because they build profiles on the kids, and then we can facilitate the information. I'll get the name up in a second, but. I've just come on board with them a week and a half.
So it's just another resource and tool that you're helping your athletes get the exposure.
Part of our sponsorship money, I'm telling you. I just flipped it around, made the investment, Signing Day Sports. And they're big. And they came in, they started making the videos of the kids doing drills. Showing their profile. They'll come in and test them in the very near future. And now it's one-stop shopping for that coach. Yeah. So I've got to get that out, that it's available to everything from D3 to USC are going to view this. And that was something that I saw a void, and I decided to make the investment. And I think it's going to pay off. The men that came out and videotaped me talking about, our primetime guys and our all levels of talent, they were professional, and I think it's going to be a service that can help us tremendously. Because I've stayed away from those things because the college coaches were coming here. But now that they're not here, that's going to fill the void. That's going to fill the void. Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. So let's take it back. We're gonna wrap this up. But fundraising on the calendar. We've got the golf-a-thon coming up. I know that Drew Littlefair is working really hard with Michelle Paddleford and Junior Sparazza, who's been instrumental in helping the program organize these events. This is pretty cool. There's like 36 golfers. You sponsor a golfer. They get so many dollars per hole that they play. The objective is to raise a significant amount of money at Old Ranch Country Club. But what's cool about this, what we're seeing, the early returns are that you got a lot of former threes. Like you can't get a guy that's 59 years old going out. I mean, I'm done after 18.
Yeah,
I mean, it's over. I mean, give me a bottle of Advil and I'll be good. You know, no back-to-backs anymore. But it's pretty exciting to see these young three-stripers stepping up. So if you want to get involved, go to www.moderndayfootball.net, and there's information on the website portal to get involved, to sign up. And I would encourage any of the former three-stripers to get involved. It's going to be a great day for Modern Day Football. Any other thoughts on the fundraising?
Yeah, well, it all started with you and Tim Strader when we took our regular date of our Rollo Invitational, December 7th, and we held that date. But because of social distancing and the amount of people you can have, we pushed this golf marathon into that date. Our Rollo Invitational was moved to April. We will hold it. More information to come about that. And I'll tell you what, Drew stepped up, but you and Tim Strader were the ones that pointed out, we can get 18 old guys, and maybe they get 36, and the second 18 is horrible, and they're bummed that they even volunteered. So Drew has, secured the players, and he's working really hard at it. And we'd love your support. The information is available. Whatever amount of money you can sponsor one of these guys for, but we have to hit a home run with it. I mean, the bottom line is I got to fill the void any way I can, because my game program, the book, it's not going to exist. And that was a lot of money that I'm watching not come in. So we've got to supplement that. So, the Golf Marathon, December 7th. Please support it.
All right, again, we want to thank Total Quality Lending, Hooker by Crook Vineyards, Blue Roost Vodka, our new distilled spirit imported from France, and the Miliari Group. For Kevin Rood, our technical director and game day producer, and for the head coach, Bruce Rollinson, I'm Kevin Turner. Until next time, God bless and go Monarchs.
Rock and roll, baby. We'll see you next time on Coach's Corner.